Hi guys, and welcome back to Movies That Matter with the Viking, and we're back talking about the Robin character again. And of course, remember we did a video talking about Zack Snyder, and he reconfirming that Dick Grayson was the one that was actually killed by the Joker, because people were questioning him. Says David Ayer said it was Jason Todd, and then Zack Snyder said no, Dick Grayson. Well, David Ayer again has been busy on Twitter, and he's been talking about the whole Robin situation and which character actually died, and here's what he had to say. So after Zack said this on Vero, a lot of controversy started up again about Dick Grayson shouldn't be the one that's dead, it should be Jason Todd, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And people then hopped onto David Ayer's Twitter and kept asking him more questions. And one fan says, Zack said Dick died, David said Jason died, they both died, it's not that hard. And then David Ayer, to clear this up, says, I never said Jason died. Well, in fact, he did. Back in 2018, David Ayer said that Jason Todd was the one Robin that was killed by the Joker. But after a few weeks ago, we remember that David Ayer said Geoff Johns made some changes to his Suicide Squad film, and one of those changes was that Harley Quinzel killed Robin, not the Joker, and we know that's completely false. Because, as I said in the video, Harley Quinn wasn't even great. She wasn't even a character by the time Robin was around with Batman fighting crime. And by the time that Robin died, Harley Quinzel was still Harley Quinzel. She was a psychiatrist. She wasn't with the Joker. She wasn't Harley Quinn. She didn't even meet the Joker yet. So it didn't make sense in the timeline. And we know that Geoff Johns changed this. Nick had this to say, I think with all the talk of a Nightwing movie back then, you were probably obligated to figure that it would be Jason Todd who was killed. And that's of course right. Chris McKay, the director of the Lego Batman film, was in line to direct a Nightwing film. And of course, if you know, Nightwing is Dick Grayson. And maybe that's why Geoff Johns wanted the dead Robin to be Jason Todd. That's why Warner Brothers wanted it to be Jason Todd, so it'd line up for a Dick Grayson film. But people are forgetting this is Zack Snyder's film. This is Zack Snyder's 5-story arc, and whatever happens in his 5-story arc is canon to him. Of course, they could have made a Nightwing film if they wanted, and Ben Affleck Batman could have did what he wanted in his movies. But Zack Snyder had a 5-story arc, and David Ayer said Zack had the master plan. I know people are desperate for a Robin story arc. People are reading way too much into all this. Sorry if I get cranky, but all this has been asked and answered, and it has. People have asked them back in 2017, 2018, 2019, now 2020, bringing up which Robin died. Guys, it was Dick Grayson. He was the Robin that was killed. And I've said this on Twitter. Do you really think that the Ben Affleck's incarnation of Batman would have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kids, Robins, running around him and helping him fight crime? Man, have you seen Batman vs Superman? Have you seen the way that Bruce Wayne acts in that film? Have you seen how depressed he is? Do you really think he'd have more kids after one dies? You think he'd really have more kids working for him fighting crime? Man, no way. So people started getting Zack Snyder's comments, started throwing them at David Ayer, and a fan goes, we are very confused after knowing it's Dick Grayson. How come? So please clear this up if possible, David Ayer. And David Ayer says, what's confusing? Joker killed Dick Grayson. That was Zack's original intent. Warner Brothers hired Zack Snyder to make this story arc, to make these films, and this was his plan, that Robin was dead in the Batman vs Superman universe. Robin was there, Bruce Wayne looked up at the costume, he was killed by the Joker. It's a haunting memory. It was Dick Grayson, not Jason Todd. And as I've said in videos before, who knows how we would have seen Dick Grayson in this universe with Zack. We know there's a hint in Justice League, but would he have got to come back in some capacity through a flashpoint? Very much like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who plays Thomas Wayne. If they do the Flashpoint story, he would be Batman. Martha Wayne would be the Joker. So would Dick Grayson come back to some capacity? Would Bruce Wayne, would Batman see him in a vision or something like that? Maybe, but that's what I'm saying. It's Zack Snyder's story arc. It's his decision. This is how he sees things. And then David Ayer just getting pissed off at all the question goes, I am Jason Todd. And I always thought that David Ayer would be the perfect choice to do a Jason Todd film, actually. And I actually think Shia LaBeouf, who he's worked with a few times already, would be a good Jason Todd for that kind of universe that Zack Snyder set up. I'm not talking about Zack Snyder directing, I'm talking about that kind of grittiness, that kind of realness in the story. I think David Ayer would do that perfectly, and Shia LaBeouf has the acting chops to pull that off. You know, just think about Jason Todd, who was presumed dead, comes back as Red Hood in Vengeance of the Batman, and just think of the psychological story you could tell. I think that would be really fascinating and cool. As I said in 2018, David Ayer said that Jason Todd was the dead Joker, and that's what he said in 2018. He said, I like it. In my mind, it was meant for Batman after he smashed Joker's teeth for killing Jason Todd. Some people found it alienating. Originality and faithfulness to the canon are often at odds. Batman and Joker are my two favourite characters ever. And then the fan goes, David Ayer, sir, so what about this? You did say it. And David Ayer just goes, not real. Nope, not real. But David Ayer kind of being, as we know nowadays, he's very honest, he's very open with things, and he goes, you did, David, just a long time ago when Suicide Squad was released. David Ayer says, I was either brutally mistaken or just being a team player, your call. And of course, David Ayer was working for Warner Bros. At the time. Honestly, what they say goes. He doesn't own any of these characters, he doesn't own anything. He is just a man that was hired to do this big budget film. And as he said before, he would never openly talk about Suicide Squad in a podcast or an interview or anything like that, because he'd probably never get work again, because he'd be so honest. He's so much anger towards Warner Brothers for what they did. Probably a lot of anger towards Jeff Johns, who came in and tampered with his film, who tampered with his vision of these characters and this story. So he says, I was either being brutally mistaken or just being a team player. So I think it was the latter. He was being a team player. He was being a yes man per se towards Jeff Johns, towards Warner Brothers, because honestly, he had no other choice. They came in, chopped up his film. He couldn't do a Josh Trank on it and said, look, this isn't my film, because that would have been bad for press for the film. It wouldn't look bad on David Ayer, it would have looked bad for the studio. So he had to play ball with them, and in Hollywood, that's what you have to do to an extent, unless you're a big time director or actor, just like a Christopher Nolan or a Will Smith or something like that. But David Ayer was kind of coming off a few good films, but then breaking into these bigger budgeted films. And he had more to say to fans who kept bringing up his quotes from 2018. That was a robot clone that said that. The real me is driving the bus today. And I love this from David Ayer. It shows that he was a corporate yes man back in 2018, 2017, 2016 for Warner Brothers. But now things are changed. The hierarchy at Warner Brothers has changed. There's new people in charge. Zack Snyder's Justice League is actually coming out in HBO Max. And it means, hopefully, that Ayer cut will come someday also, and David Ayer knows this. There's a huge possibility. That's why he's talking about his cut of Suicide Squad more and more, trying to create buzz, trying to create more fans, hoping that HBO Max will get in talks from them. They're hoping that they would come into it and say, look, we want to get this film out there as well. That's why he's playing this now. That's why he's doing this. So he says the real me is in control today. So he's not afraid of Warner Brothers telling them to shut up or not giving them work or things like that, because they're the ones that butchered this film. So he can talk now. He can talk because Zack Snyder's been talking. More things are coming out about Jeff Johns every single day. The Snyder Cut is coming. We know there was things changed with that. The Ayer Cut hopefully will come. So David Ayer isn't afraid to voice his opinion anymore. So you're probably asking yourself, is Jason Todd in the Snyder universe? Is he in Suicide Squad? David Ayer says nope, nope, and nope. So Jason Todd, at this very moment in time, does not exist in the DCEU. It does not exist in the Snyderverse. It doesn't exist in the David Ayer, Zack Snyder, Patty Jenkins, James Wan, David Sandberg, Cathy Yen world of characters. He hasn't been introduced yet, because I think that Zack Snyder was merging Robins together. I think there was going to be bits and elements of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd into this Robin that is dead. I think that's what he was doing, because it just seems too on the nose, too kind of cheesy to have 3 or 4 different Robins running around with Ben Affleck's Batman. Now, maybe Ben Affleck's Batman, his film, he would have introduced the inner Joker, but Zack Snyder has also said that Dick Grayson must have stayed dead until Carrie came. So was he referring to Dick Grayson as the character, or was he referring to Robin as the character? Because I have a theory as well, I talked about it in the video, that maybe Dick Grayson in this world was Zack's incarnation of the Jason Todd Red Hood storyline, that we think he's dead, but he comes back as the incarnation that Jason Todd was in the comics and becomes Red Hood to that extent, because his words were very, if you look at them, they're very kind of interesting. He doesn't say Robin stays dead until Carrie, he says Dick stays dead until Carrie. So Dick Grayson sees that Batman has a new Robin, which is Carrie. Does he come back then with vengeance as the Red Hood? That was just my little theory, that just me having some fun with it. Maybe it's right, maybe it's false. So no Jason Todd in the DCU right now. All we've had, or have is Dick Grayson as Robin, who died, but maybe he comes back in some sort of Flashpoint storyline or something like that, or maybe the Red Hood. That's my theory. But anyway, guys, it's all cleared up now. David Ayer has cleared it up, the director of Suicide Squad. Zack Snyder, the director of Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, has cleared it up. Robin was Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson was Robin. Jason Todd does not exist. Joker killed Robin. He killed Dick Grayson. Harley Quinzel had nothing to do with it because she didn't exist. She was still a psychiatrist. She was still a sane woman. The Joker had not manipulated her yet. The Joker is the one who killed Robin. He killed Dick Grayson. Batman was annoyed. Batman was gone crazy. He beat the shit out of Joker. He knocked his teeth out. Joker went to jail. Blah, blah, blah. Got the tattoos. Blah, blah, blah. Met Harley Quinn. That's the story. That's the story that David Ayer, that's the story what Zack Snyder was doing. And there will be a hint in Zack Snyder's Justice League regarding Dick Grayson. Will it be Bruce looking at the gravestone and seeing Dick Grayson's name? Will he be looking more at the costume? Will he actually talk to Commissioner Gordon about it? We don't know. We'll have to find out in 2021, but I can't wait. For me personally, someone who is not a big comic book reader, I don't mind which Robin it is. I just like to see the cool character of Robin. I always thought that it would be a cool idea to see a female Robin. But these are these directors and storytellers' vision of these characters. Look at the Dark Knight trilogy. Look at the Dark Knight Rises. Robin wasn't an idea until the last 5 minutes of that film. We didn't even know that man was named Robin until the woman said it in the last montage of the film. And then, of course, he finds the Batcave, and we never see him again or that character. So that was Christopher Nolan's incarnation, his version, his vision of these characters, of that Gotham, of that world. This is Zack Snyder's one. So what's the big deal? I just don't understand it. If you want to see Dick Grayson, if you want to see Nightwing, Jason Todd, just go look at Titans. I love that show. It's pretty cool. Go look at that, or look at the animated series. There's loads of different incarnations of these characters. Just go have fun with it. This is Zack Snyder. This is Christopher Nolan's. Matt Reeves has his own thing. He might have Dick Grayson and that. So let's just wait and see. Enjoy it. Stop taking everything so seriously, guys. If you want to see Dick Grayson, I'm sure someday we'll see a Nightwing film. But someday, just be patient and enjoy the ride and enjoy what we're getting right now. But anyway, let me know what you think of the whole debate of Jason Todd, Dick Grayson and the Robin. Let me know what you think. Do you think David Ayer was right to clear all this up? What do you think about him lying back in 2018, being a yes man for Warner Bros? What do you think about that? Give it a like, guys. Comment. Subscribe, come and follow me on all my social medias, and come and talk about movies. You'll find that in the description. Until next time, guys, stay positive.